Okay, I'm going to cover several things. First, I'm going to start off with that butt shower or bidet bottle. Now, it's meant to wash you off after you've used the bathroom. Now, I think you can get these little pump spray bottles in stores for a couple bucks. So I think I saw like a 4-pack of them one time. I think Harbor Freight had a 4-pack of them for $6 or $8, something like that. They're fairly inexpensive. They hold more fluid than these ones on Amazon. So what I think I'd probably do is get 2 of them. Mix up a mild soap solution in one of them. Just pure water in the other one. You can take some bar soap. Cut off a couple pieces with a knife. Put it in the bottle and then shake it up till it's dissolved in there, and then use that as the initial wash, and then finish it off with water. Then if it's cold outside, you could use a towel to dry off. Like right now, if I was out in the desert somewhere, I wouldn't bother with a towel because I'd be dry in about 5 minutes. It's that warm out there. The next one is I made a list here. Now I watch their YouTube channel is Lost Place Discovery. It's 2 chicks. Now this is Urbex. It's in German. Now they did a couple here in the U.S. These 2 chicks do speak English. I've commented on their videos a few times in English, and they've commented back, so I know. But anyway, when I use Video Downloader, to download these off of YouTube. Now, most of the videos are subtitled in English. Now, the ones for Itchy Boots, those are, for some weird reason, those are all subtitled in Arabic. I don't know why. I didn't ask them to be subtitled at all. Now, the ones for Lost Place Discovery, they're subtitled in Dutch or Nederlandish. Now, I can reckon this. I can get maybe between about a third to half of the words in German. Now I can pick up the words in Dutch will be. I don't see anything that looks like it's close to English. Now there are a handful of words in German that are close to English, like water or Wasser, snow or Schnee. There's a bunch, Kusher or kitchen. There's a bunch of them like that are not exactly the same word, but they're close enough that if you know them, they're easy to remember. That's one thing. If you got to learn a language, they find the words first that you can recognize are close, and learn them, and then you can kind of fill in with other words. That's what I've done. But anyway, I can recognize some of the Dutch words as the words I know in German. Now, a couple of days ago when I was at that O'Reilly's over there in I was like about 19th Avenue and Bell. I was getting my rotor I'm going to get to my rotor in a couple of minutes. But there was this lady. I was in line behind her for about 10, 15 minutes. We got to discussion. That's the lady that said she's had finished about 3/4 of a bottle of tequila, and it didn't even get her buzzed. Now, of course, she's a heavy set lady, and her body fat probably absorbed a bunch of it. But anyway, I turned on Tagesschau and ZDF, Hoyt ZDF, or Hoyt means today. I can't say it right, but anyway, she looked at me. And I said, "Well, that's German." I said, "I can get maybe about half the words in it." She thought that was kind of interesting. So the next thing, is my rotor. Let me show you here it. Sometimes I'm gonna just hit that with my ohm meter. Put one probe in the center and one probe out here, and just see if I get conductivity to it. It's just gonna be bugged. It makes no sense. It looks perfect. It looks new. It looks perfect, and it just didn't work because when I slapped that other one in there, it started off, but I still had to mess with the timing. That still got me. If anybody's got some ideas on it, let me know. Email, or I'll give my email at the very last. Email me or leave a comment here. If anybody's got some ideas on why this thing failed, let me know. Now, I use the same cap. That was the cap. I've got about 3 or 4 distributor caps. I said, when I do a tune-up, I'll save them. Just toss them in the back of my pickup in case I'm on the road somewhere and need something. And I did have a spare rotor, and I don't know why I just didn't try it. Well, I guess because this thing looks so perfect, it wasn't until I had my friend, actually check for spark that I realized what was going on. Now, next thing I'm going to cover is that kid that got stabbed with scissors. Now, I covered, I'm sure there'll be the news is going to come on here in about 2 minutes. So I'll probably they'll probably have a police conference where they're discussing. Now, I'd be curious what actually possessed one kid to stab and kill the other kid. The story was that the kid had used a pair of scissors. A lot of these schools have metal detectors, so I'm guessing the kid that stole the gun, probably, if that was the item, the kid probably didn't have it at school, but maybe got it on campus past metal detectors. That would be interesting to know. But if a motive is given, if a motive is known by now, I'm sure the police have interviewed this kid. They arrested him right there on the spot. I'm sure if he'd probably give his motive, his reasons for stabbing and killing the other kid. I wonder if he intended to kill him or just wanted to hurt him, and it just ended up killing him. I don't know. Let's see, next thing. Circuit breaker. This happened quite a number of years ago. I used to do work for one of the school districts here in Phoenix, and I got to know I did the AC work, some of it, not all of it. I imagine now they probably have their own people on staff to do that. But anyway, now this one electrician, he needed a three-phase breaker for a particular piece of equipment. It was like a square D breaker, and instead they got him with a GE style. It's completely different bus styles. It will not fit. It will not work. I guarantee you that. One of the secretaries had got the breaker, and he told me it won't fit. And they said, "Well, make it fit anyway." And he proceeded, over about half an hour, but explained to them exactly where they could put the circuit breaker. So after that deal, they gave him like about 2 weeks of unpaid vacation. He was a key guy. He did quite a bit of work. He was a pretty sharp guy too. And why they didn't, get the proper breaker in the first place, I don't know. I'm guessing whoever got it probably didn't know the difference. Let's see. Last thing is paint. Now, I got one more thing after that. Now. I don't know why I'm including this video. I thought it was interesting. Now, I remember one guy had a van. This is a long time ago. I remember the paint was pretty decent on his van, but for some reason, it was white. For some reason, this guy wanted to paint it black, so he did a rattle can job on it. Let's just say you could tell it was a rattle can job. If you've ever seen a rattle can job, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, I don't recommend anybody doing this unless you don't care what something looks like. If you don't care, rattle can. Another guy had an old Datsun pickup. Of course, this pickup was... This pickup is pretty old. This guy didn't have a lot of money, so he took a paintbrush and I think he just used regular house paint to paint it. He just again, you can tell it was done with a paintbrush. The very last thing I want to cover here. Now I've been asking you, what type of video would you want to see me make? Now nobody responds to these, but I'm just curious what type of video you'd want to see me make. Maybe some cute, interesting chick wants to do a collab video with me where we're fixing something. She had no idea how to, repair air conditioner, stove, refrigerator, how to replace a circuit breaker, how to install a ceiling fan. But she's willing to sit and hold the camera while I do the job. Like I said, if your ideas are illegal or dangerous, I ain't going to do it. If it's morally incorrect or something like that, I got to think about it. Just put that out there. Hey, love y'all. Let's make this life interesting. Bye-bye.